thing. Let's just assign the tasks and get on with it, shall we? I'm sure we're already busy. Alice, you need to get that data analysis done by Wednesday. Josh, you need to go to that client meeting on Thursday for me. Jason, could you get that report written by Tuesday afternoon? Okay, everybody clear? Any questions? No, great, fantastic. Oh, you have got a question. What, you want to ask me a question right now in front of everyone? Okay, fire away. You'd like me to clarify the purpose of all your tasks so you understand how the team contributes to the overall organisation's strategic objectives and goals. Right, well, I'm not really quite sure why you need that. Why can't you just get on with the jobs that I've given you and just, trust me that they're necessary? Oh, you'd like to see how your contribution fits in with the overall programme so you feel a sense...
I sent this video because a lot of the challenges I've been talking to you privately about actually stem to this sort of stuff.
Yeah, it does.
And what did I say about the recent org chart restructures? Where is the association with the vision of what this team needs to do moving forward, or the whole business group?
Yep.
I just found that quite uncanny.
Sense of purpose and helps you feel more engaged and motivated. Well, I'm sure that's really convenient for you, but I haven't actually got time. So if you could just crack on and do the jobs that I'm telling you to do without asking questions, then that would be really much, much better. Thanks. See you next week for another team meeting where I'll assign more tasks.
Look, I have a couple of strong thoughts on this one. Now, I will say before I get into it, when I did receive some leadership training, more around the psychology of leadership, they classified, it's very black and white, as of some time ago, they classified people who are task assigned into two buckets. Those who need to know a sense of purpose about why they're doing what they're doing for intrinsic engagement and motivation, and those who will just do it, who don't even care. They actually will feel it's a waste of their time if you sit down and explain it.
Yeah.
So I think they said the split was almost 50-50.
Oh, wow.
So the advice in this particular workshop session was tailor it accordingly. But the way to achieve it globally is to always do it so that you're going to get 100% coverage, because the people who are not interested are not going to bother reading it. But the people who are will be engaged and follow through. Now, that being said, I think how you craft that message is important. And again, like with work is done, when everyone's busy and the manager's busy and everyone's just in task mode, I think the default state is a one of, I'm realizing that not everyone finds engagement with the same message.
Yes.
I need to have a one-on-one conversation to say, here's the message. I need to now transform it to what you understand.
Yeah.
And that's a tiring exercise.
Yes.
Therefore, the default state is to not bother. Is to roll out a pack and say, here you go. And then deal with the troublemakers on a by exception basis. And most people aren't troublemakers. They'll just get on with it. And you'll take a productivity hit, but you probably can absorb it. I think that's a cynical answer to this one.
Fundamentally, I'm at loggerheads to accept that there's people that don't want to know the vision and purpose.
It's not about that.
I can accept that today they're not in a position, place of mind, state of mind to want to know. But to write off somebody as they never want to know, I can't fall behind that. I think it's more of a mentality thing. Like, for example, if you're in a survival state of being where it's just more important to get the paycheck coming in and effectively become a mercenary or do any job, then yeah, I get why you wouldn't care, because your vision is tied to survival. But at some point when you dig yourself out of that hole, other things matter. And with that relevance, I believe for all people will come an importance to understand the vision and not just working for the sake of working. Fundamentally, I believe that.
I think that's a nice belief to have. But being cynical,
go on.
What's the productivity increase? And look, I'm not saying they don't want to know. I'm just saying it won't matter to them at that. Like you said, they might be in mercenary mode. Having the company's vision might not matter. Now, I'm going to give you an example that I've tried that doesn't always work with around cascading goals and visions.
Before you do that, we will go into that. I don't believe you've cock blocked me.
No, I haven't. I haven't.
I know, but you did it like a mic drop.
Yeah, I did, but it's more around I'm challenging the necessity because you, as a manager, your time's valuable, and inspiring someone at various levels, you've got to make a call.
Yeah, I agree.
What's the payoff for you?
I agree. I agree.
So the reason I want to juxtapose what you said, because I think it's important. That's where you should get a culture to. You should get people to buy in and care. I'm just saying the cynical approach is default mode network. Now, one thing I've seen recently is, again, when I did some training.
Just for the record, right, I do understand that position about the time. I just don't agree with it. Right. Yeah. I'm pointing out these things in case we actually have an opportunity to get back to it, but keep on going. Keep on going with the monologue.
So, I shall. So, one way it's explained to me is, let's say you're President Kennedy.
Yep.
You're announcing your vision. It's 1963. You're on your podium.
Yep.
You still got a full head of hair.
Yep.
Your brain's intact.
Yep.
You say, by the end of this decade, we're going to land a man on the moon.
Yep.
Right. So you got a vision or a goal there. It's time-based. Man on the moon. It's very clear. Right? Now, cascading goals. You're part of the hydrogen rocket team. And you say, what does that mean for me in the hydrogen rocket team? Because my KPI says develop a new type of fuel that doesn't explode. I don't know how it relates.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, what's your question, mate? You don't know how that relates to landing a man on the moon? They go, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
You have to explain it to me.
Yep.
And so this whole concept of cascading goals means that you need to draw a link all the way up.
Yep.
For someone to get that meaning.
Correct. What's the problem?
Now, the problem we found is some people refuse to accept the idea of cascading goals.
Yes.
They say fundamentally, my work in the rocket team does not line up with that goal of landing a man on the moon. I don't care what you say.
Yep.
And obstructionist.
Mm-hmm.
So based on some of those experiences, sometimes I wonder, am I going to get the 20% uplift of productivity or engagement from that person if I bother to then keep explaining?
Obviously, this is a laugh of I understand the precarious pitfall of the situation you've exposed me to. What?
That's why I had to do the monologue.
It's a very complex question, and you have successfully put enough poison fruit in front to test your resolve and beliefs as a person, a leader, and how you view humanity. I can speak on quite comfortably on where I think the theoretical side of what this could look like, and that's the same as when we talked about emoji before. There's people that can write the words. So to respond to that, I could say a bunch of things that either support, okay, well, you got to look out for yourself. To do that, eventually you're going to have to toe the company line, adhere to those KPIs, chase the productivity, and then you're going to have to make a judgment call on which people you give your time to and which you don't, ultimately. The other spectrum would be that people are all that matters. Everybody deserves equitable opportunity. And so you need to find a way to give that time. There's nothing else more important, right? With those two extremes, where do I sit in that scenario? And it's complicated, obviously. Based on how I could examine past decisions, which is some sort of indicator for how I would treat this if I was exposed to it, I would make the time. In the end, and I've been exposed to similar recently now that I think about it, there's an individual that was very clear about how they thought and initiative should be solved. Now, ultimately, where the legacy that we had up to that point and the idea this person was espousing all supported the same vision. I could see that. They couldn't, but I could see that. And so then I saw my job as mediating between what's best for the vision. I don't have to hold on to that legacy. And I did commit the time with that person, sat them through how the legacy supported. Ultimately, though, I also expressed it's my decision. This is my accountability. So I'm more than happy for us to talk about it, figure out what's best for what we're doing. It's going to be my call. And so I made that clear that we, to borrow a Jeff Bezos term, we can disagree and commit.
Oh, I think it's brilliant. I think it's a brilliant answer. That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
So that was a deliberate poison chalice, which you cleverly batted away and got to the real answer, which is you're going to have obstructors. Now, the obstructors ideally are the minority, but you're going to land the man on the moon, get with the program, and you spend the time. You have to spend the time. And then you can make a call. You have to lay down the law and say, you have to commit to this, or you need to leave. Now, if their commitment's just kind of, I don't understand, but I know what I need to do at this level, you don't need to fire someone. But there comes to a point where if they can't commit, you have to, and I think I like the line you used. If you like to repeat it.
Disagree and commit.
Disagree and commit.
Jeff Bezos.
But if you disagree but you can't commit, you need to go.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually fundamentally agree that you need to have the conversation. Now, if you've got an 80% disagree and with commit, I think that may be a wider cultural issue, possibly. But I think that's an outlier case. I think it means the explanations probably still aren't clear.
I think what's unrealistic about 80% disagreement is that you've got that many people engaged.
I'm not retort to that. Yeah. This is default mode, yeah. But it goes back to that, if they disagree and commit, is that this state that she's articulating?
Fuck's sake.
Or is it what you're saying? Which is, they're not even disagreeing. There's no engagement. There's no engagement at all.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that's actually a great challenge, because you can view this context as disagree and commit. They have disagreed and she's asked for commitment, but I don't think that's the meaning of disagree and commit.
Nah,
because this is one way.
This is one way, and like you said, I know we were laughing at that, but to have 80% disagreement, you have to engagement.
Yeah,
and this is saying there has been no engagement.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Yep.
Jeez,